Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
राज, बाबूजी के आशीर्वाद से हमने अपनी नई शुरुआत तो कर ली, पर अपना फ्यूचर प्लान कैसे करें?
बड़े बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Looking for perfect start? Get a Bitcoin today. Download the UnoCoin app.
जब मैं तेरी उम्र का था ना, तो एक सक्सेसफुल करियर, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग सब रेडी करके रख चुका था। और एक इन महाराज को देखो, पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है, UnoCoin के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। Looking for Bitcoin? Download the UnoCoin app.
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
UnoCoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the UnoCoin app.
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the UnoCoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the UnoCoin app.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to UnoCoin's weekly live session. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Varun, who is a very well-known Bitcoiner and also an equity valuation specialist. Today's session is going to be super exciting because हम बात करने वाले हैं कि portfolio allocation में किस तरीके से Bitcoin can be a big time game changer, and Varun here is going to give us all the insights about that. First of all, hi Varun, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ambu. I'm very good. Hopefully, Unicoin is good as well.
Yeah, indeed. And I think recent insight received, Bitcoin has just hit 67,000. So we are anyways, planning to go to the moon.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So Varun, before we jump into the main topic, let's first, get a little insight on your background in Bitcoin because you are an equity valuation specialist, and most people I know from fintech who are on the equity and say on the how do I put it, fiat side of investments are not really Bitcoiners or Bitcoin believers. So what made you believe in Bitcoin, and how did your journey start?
Yeah. So you could say that I was just trying to grasp what the concept of cryptocurrency is, and why it's so volatile, and can I really make profits. This was back in 2018 when I was doing my MBA, right? So and I don't know if I'm proud to say this or embarrassed to say this, but my portfolio did quite well at that time. But unfortunately, I was not very wise. I just did it for some fun, and that's why my value went up a lot, and then it went down a lot. But yeah, I did make some gains, and I did enjoy my journey. And so that left a very good taste in my mouth back in 2018, right? So again, when 2021 Bitcoin hit the bull market, right? The cycle hit like 69K, I guess, and that's where it again caught my attention and made me think deeply about what's really happening here. Why is Bitcoin, so volatile? Why does it go down and then go up so much? So I started looking into it, and as it turns out, it just blew my mind, because Bitcoin is basically a rabbit hole, right? So once you start exploring Bitcoin, you understand that Bitcoin is connected to each and everything that's going around you, right? Let it be inflation, let it be assets, let it be portfolio, let it be tech, let it be freedom, let it be energy. There are so many aspects connected to this one simple thing. I mean, you can call it a simple thing, but it's actually not, because before 2008, before Satoshi opened a wormhole, as they say, from the physical to the digital realm. This was not really possible. So today it might seem very simple and very casual to people, because I don't know, there are 10,000 cryptocurrencies floating around, but uh, this is a game changer, and it's going to take the world by storm. It's going to change finance forever. It's going to change many industries forever. And these are just some of the insights that I gathered with just 2.5 years of my study in Bitcoin, and I'm just getting started.
Yeah, so are we all. And the beautiful part about it is that, now we see institutions understanding that too. The first and the very major example came at the start of this year, BlackRock. And Larry Fink is the same person who some years ago did not really believe in Bitcoin and had really harsh opinions about it. So I think definitely the thought process there is changing in the finance world, though it's slow, but it's very impactful wherever it's happening. We have a comment here by Mr. Rahul Sharma. He's saying zero BTC withdrawal. Great job, UnoCoin. Thank you so much, Rahul. Do spread the word about that, because we understand the value of self custody. Hence, this feature for you all. Okay.
Definitely.
So, coming to my first question for today, Varun, what makes Bitcoin an interesting investment right now from a personal finance perspective? So do you think it's the market, or do you think it's fundamentally, or the ETFs? What factor do you think is contributing to that?
So there are many factors, Shambhavi. First of all, as you said, the institutions are waking up. The institutions are realizing that this is an asset which is very, very unique in the basket of assets. Right? It's a decentralized asset, non-sovereign, right? So no nation has any control over it, and it's very volatile. So volatility can be a good thing and can be a bad thing, depends on your perspective, right? So the institutions really understand that, because they have been dealing in assets for ages, right? So they really are starting to grasp the concept that a decentralized asset, which is 24/7 trading, 24/7 available, has everyone has access to it, and it has a fixed supply, right? So it's an equivalent of gold, but much better than gold, because it's internet native, right? It's born on the internet, it lives on the internet, and the network has basically 99.99% uptime. So those are the properties that really help institutions understand that it's a really unique asset. It's completely uncharted territory, and a lot of innovation will come up from this basic tech, basic layer of Bitcoin. The base layer, and that is why I think, first of all, with the entrance of BlackRock and I think 10 other ETFs, it's an exciting time, because for institutions, For pension funds, for companies, it was difficult to hold Bitcoin because they did not really understand the tech. They did not really have a grasp of how accounting frameworks will understand Bitcoin. Can will they really be treating this as a liquid asset, as an intangible asset? So accounting frameworks matter a lot because uh, one framework can give you a profit on your balance P&L, and another framework can give you a loss, right? So that really is an important point when it comes to institutions, and because ETFs are making it very easy for institutions to just hold it just like any other fund, because all the other technical aspects and all the other accounting aspects are basically handled by the ETFs. So the company just has to invest in this Bitcoin ETF just like any other fund, right? So because of that simplification, because of the removal of that friction, I think a huge chunk of capital will be entering Bitcoin. And as your audience might be aware, equity markets all around the world are in a bull phase. Basically, all markets are hitting all-time highs, and that is because there's a lot of liquidity in the market, right? So it's a good time to be invested in the market, and obviously, Bitcoin is, I think, the king of volatility because according to some research, it has a very sharp correlation with the volatility in the market. So when the volatility rises, Bitcoin is the first one and the most aggressive one to rise. So it's definitely an interesting time for to be invested in Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I believe that once you understand Bitcoin, right, every day, every minute of the day is a good time to invest in Bitcoin. But
Yeah.
definitely from the global market perspective, now can be an amazing time. Also, Varun, you mentioned about companies having Bitcoin on their balance sheet. In India, though we do not see that as a regular practice for institutions or companies to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets. So, do you think this is because of some particular regulation that you know of, or is this because their knowledge as of now is limited?
It's a mix of two. I think it's a mix of many other factors, but these two primarily. First of all, Bitcoin community is not that huge in India. There can be many factors. First of all, the capital market is not that deep in India. It's still an emerging market. So people are just trying to make their living. So they do not really have a deep understanding of the capital market. So not everybody is really invested in the capital market. And Bitcoin being a new asset as compared to equities have been around for 100 150 years. Bitcoin just has a life of 15 years, right? So it's very young in that aspect. So because of these things, so that is basically on the understanding side. On the other side, when you talk about regulations, we all know that crypto currencies have a capital gains tax of 30% flat, right? So there is no short-term, long-term concept. There is no income slabs coming here. If you sell your cryptocurrencies at any time, whatever the gain may be, you'll have to pay a 30% tax. So uh, again, I would say even the government and the regulatory agencies do not really understand what kind of implications this asset has for the financial space, because of which they are trading with caution and they are imposing the highest tax rate on Bitcoin. But I think that will change as and when the market understands, people understand, and then ultimately regulators and the government understands that Bitcoin is it's a better technology because it makes humanity better. It enables everyone to store their value in a very safe and sound manner. Although right now it's immature, but as it matures, it will open up a lot of avenues for everyone around. So I think that is going to change. But yeah, as it stands, not too many companies are investing in Bitcoin. I think even if they are, they would not make it public. So I don't think any public company in India is investing in Bitcoin right now. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, even I was trying to find out a company that might be holding on to Bitcoins in their balance sheet, but I could really, after a very long research, I did not find any companies who would publicly hold Bitcoin onto their balance sheets, and that's
Right.
that's um, that's a big question on these financial institutions because literally right now the most amount of innovation is happening in the fintech side of the world. We see so many companies coming up, be that cred, be that UPI facilitators, debt security market, equity market. Everything is just doing so much innovation, and amid that you're not able to realize the biggest financial innovation of the era. So
That's
that
true.
really poses a big question mark onto their understanding and comprehension of this technology. Regardless, just to understand from a layman perspective, because we know, Varun, that in India people are not even investing in equities, people are not investing. That is a general
Mhm.
thing, like people
Yeah.
do not believe in investing beyond FDs.
Yeah.
In such a case, how would you see traditional assets as opposed to Bitcoin, or Bitcoin as opposed to traditional assets when it comes to investing as a layman?
Yeah, so I think people need to understand that investing is very, very essential for their financial well-being, because everybody faces the problem of inflation. Everybody faces a problem of a changing world, right? So when you earn something from your hard work, it's essential that you maintain the power of that, and you actually grow that, because if the world is evolving, if technology is evolving, and if you get a chance to participate in that innovation, why not, right? So firstly, I think people should be aware and cognizant that investing is very essential for their financial health, and they should do it as and when they feel comfortable, right? So not everyone is in a position of saving, but whenever they do get a chance to save and invest, they should. That's the first point. Second point is, I think when you start investing, diversification is a very important aspect, because if you park all your money in just one stock or one asset, it can be really problematic for you, because you will be completely dependent on how that stock is behaving in the current market cycle, right? So, for example, if I'm invested in, let's say, airline stock, right, and everyone would have noticed when the COVID hit, right? So all the tourism and the airline industries were badly hit. Some of these emojis even went bankrupt, right? So that was a very, very bad time for that industry. So imagine someone who was only invested in that sector, he would have had a very tough time looking at his portfolio. And that is why portfolio diversification is very important. You should have not just different stocks, but different assets in your portfolio, right? Because those assets will offset each other, and will give you stable returns over time, and you will not have a very tough time understanding what is happening to your portfolio. You will not panic, right? So it will help you maintain a calm and steady level of your earnings, of your savings, right? So that is why diversification is important, and it's been emphasized by a lot of, like, a majority of financial advisors all over the world, if you listen to them carefully. And I think that is where even Bitcoin has a role, because as we all know, cryptocurrencies can be very volatile. Bitcoin is also very volatile, but volatility, as I said, can be good and bad, how you look at it, right? So if it is volatile, it also means that it gives you enormous returns, right, over a long enough period of time. Now, because volatility can be difficult for some people to digest, it's advisable that they start with a small position in their portfolio. Let's say a 1%, a 2%, or 5%, whatever they feel comfortable basis their risk appetite, right? So when you start dipping your toes in cryptocurrency and in Bitcoin, you will realize that over a long enough time period, the percentage of Bitcoin or the percentage of cryptocurrency in your portfolio will actually grow, because the returns are higher as compared to all other assets, right? So that is what people need to understand, that even though they start with just 1% or 2% allocation, and they keep on studying and they keep on learning about this technology and why it is important for the future, they don't have to do anything. The asset will just evolve and just grow, and it will just take larger and larger portion of their portfolio. And because the person has been studying on the sidelines as well, he'll feel comfortable. He'll not feel scared that now cryptocurrency is a larger part of my portfolio. What should I do? Because now he will understand that this is a larger part of the portfolio, because it's a larger part of the world's balance sheet, right? It's occupying the store of value market share from all other assets, right? So if you are participating in that innovation, it's actually good for you. And that is where I feel Bitcoin is a very worthy part of the portfolio right now. And the arrival of ETFs, as we talked about, it basically signals that even institutions are ready. Even pension funds are ready for this for this milestone. So obviously, retail investors need to look at it and need to be very cognizant of it.
True that. Here we have a very interesting question, Varun. I was just looking at this question while you were speaking because it's such an interesting question, and I really wanna understand how would you take this. So, Crypto Trailblazers here is asking how to select the best coins for diversification.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not an expert on diversifying within cryptocurrencies because I am a Bitcoin believer. I believe that Bitcoin is a unique asset in itself because it does not have one central authority controlling the protocol, right? So it's completely decentralized. It's a cryptocurrency of and for the people, right? So that essentially has a very deep value for people who need to hold something which they know it will not change over a long period of time, right? So just like how human beings have values and they do not change their values, their principles, in the same way we need something in our portfolio which will essentially not deflect and not change its nature, and Bitcoin is, I think, doing that job. And because I'm a deep believer in Bitcoin, I do not really advise people on other cryptocurrencies. Definitely, they are free to do their own research, but I believe over a long period of time, Bitcoin has a much better future as compared to other cryptocurrencies.
True, and for solid fundamental reasons, that too. I mean, my first investment was Shiba Inu.
Right.
And
Okay.
then I figured out that this is such a joke. And then I
Yeah.
started understanding different cryptocurrencies and different coins. I think everybody goes through that phase. I think a lot of times Sabha has mentioned this, that Sailor suggests. I am yet to look at that podcast where Mr. Michael Saylor is suggesting that there are five stages of
Right.
being a Bitcoiner. So I think everybody goes through them, and everybody goes through that altcoining phase, and they understand it for themselves that potentially if you're looking for long term, if you want, you understand money. Basically, the minute you start understanding Bitcoin, you start understanding money, which is not quite the case with other cryptocurrencies. So that's why, I mean, it's a part of the journey. Okay. Rahul Sharma is saying no, there's no second best. Agreed. There's no silver to Bitcoin's gold. Big believer of that. Okay. Crypto Trailblazers here is saying I've kept 80% in BTC and Ethereum and 15% in altcoins and 5% in meme coins. Is that a good strategy?
As I said, I am not an expert in this field, but there are a lot of people. One of them is, I think, Benjamin Cohen. I do watch his videos from time to time because, as I said, I was a trader once upon a time. Although I'm not sure I'll be doing trading again, but I would say maybe give his videos a watch and maybe just try to listen to what he says about Bitcoin dominance. This becomes essential when you are dealing with other cryptocurrencies, right? Because if you're 100% in Bitcoin, then Bitcoin dominance is basically 100% for you. But if you are not, then it really becomes important to pay attention to that one metric, which is Bitcoin dominance. So yeah, if you're tracking that and if you know how that will behave over cycles, then I think you'll be able to decide what is the right allocation for you.
Okay. I think, oh, he's saying agreed. So glad Crypto Trailblazers, you got the answer. Rahul is saying 100% BTC is best. Every coin is going to zero in terms of BTC.
Yeah.
True that, Rahul. That is a strong belief, and based on fundamentals, and anybody who's been through both of these side of the worlds will know that yeah, that is true at some point. Because I mean, last bull season we saw NFTs rallying, we saw NFT based coins rallying, Cardano, Solana. Now Solana has been, I'm not sure, I have not been tracking the market, but from what I've heard, Solana has done like occasionally well so far, and then Cardano's not doing good at all. So I mean, how do you even factor in the reasons of why these things are not doing good, or what things are, and how do you control it? Because there's no network effect happening there like Bitcoin. Over there, it's more about how the particular blockchain is performing and things like that. So it's
Yeah.
basically crypto stocks. Those
Yeah.
tokens can be crypto stocks in other ways.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin is the real hard money.
Yeah.
Okay, Crypto Trailblazers is also saying if Bitcoin goes up, then for sure others will follow. Say if BTC is 3% up, others will pump like hell. Do you agree, Varun?
Yeah, definitely. If Bitcoin is volatile, other cryptocurrencies are volatile, volatility squared. So yeah, that is going to happen. But as I said, allocation really depends on you because one moment you'd be enjoying, they are going up like hell. The other moment, as I was in 2018, everything just crashes and you never know when to get out. So it's really important to understand what is happening from a macroeconomics perspective, what is happening from liquidity perspective. If you are trading, it's really important to either have your stop losses or have that position in mind when you are entering and when you are supposed to leave a position, right? So if you are not in Bitcoin, this becomes really essential because these coins do not really have a very secure future, if you ask me, right? Bitcoin is something which no one can control. It's essentially a commodity. It's a digital gold, right? So gold has been an important asset for humanity because for 5,000 years, gold has not changed, right? And I think that same principle applies to Bitcoin also. However, I cannot say that about the other coins, right? So if you're a trader, if you enjoy the volatility, if you enjoy the quick profits, you will definitely get in and get out. But it's important to hedge your bets and understand when to get in and get out. That's what I can say.
Okay, Rahul is saying another very interesting thing. Hell is not a good place to be.
Right.
And then Crypto Trailblazers is again asking best platform to diversify.
I think it's not really dependent on the platform. You just need to make sure that whenever you diversify, you keep your coins secure, right? And that is where I think Unicoin is doing a good job because it's allowing people to withdraw either their Bitcoin or their crypto tokens, which is really important for self custody, right? So it's really important to understand the risk of a cryptocurrency and the risk of the platform on which you are investing in the cryptocurrency. Those two risks should not be mixed. So if you can reduce one of those risks, if you can just self custody, that's better for you.
Yeah, I mean self custody is so crucial. I mean that is the prime criteria for choosing a platform is that looking at the recent fiasco, I would say don't look at anything but look at the fact if they're allowing crypto withdrawals or not. Also on UnoCoin, there's crypto basket. If you want to check that out, if you want to see what's there, definitely go check it out. That's been curated. But again, I'm also a big time believer of Bitcoin. So understand Bitcoin. I mean, it's your journey. But I cannot literally tell you to just do Bitcoin, but I have had my journey. I think Varun has had his journey. Most people in Bitcoin have had their journey and then they have become Bitcoiners, Bitcoin maximalists. So definitely go through that journey for yourself, figure it out for yourself, and then come back to Bitcoin. We will be here to welcome you at that time. So, okay. Now, I think these are all the questions. We'll move to some of the questions that I have curated
Mhm.
from a very, what do I say, non-Bitcoiner, non-investor perspective. Now I talk to a lot of people in the fintech world and just simply happen to ask, what do you think is wrong with Bitcoin? Why would you not invest in Bitcoin? Their answer is so stunning. They go like, oh, it's banned, it's not allowed, it's not legal in India. So
Yeah,
how?
that's not a fact.
Yeah,
Bitcoin is legal in India. You just have to pay the tax on your capital gains, and you can just safely keep your Bitcoin. There's
yeah,
no
but
legal issue.
a lot of people are afraid if it is not banned right now, it will be banned in future. So do you think there's a possibility?
So it's an interesting perspective, Shambhavi. Once gold was banned in US, right?
Yes.
There was an order where you were not allowed to hold gold, right? And can you really, imagine what people would be like? Because for everyone, I mean, all of humanity, gold is a generational wealth. You know, our parents, our grandparents, everyone just teach us to hold some gold uh, all the time, right? So when government does something like that, I think they are doing it because of political pressures. But ultimately, what will happen is government will realize that this is not a good position to have. And if something is really the need of the hour, and if people are really understanding and people are really wanting something to happen, I think the government will go along the flow and they'll not really create such kind of issues.
True, true. I mean, this should this has already happened like once with a blanket ban thing already coming over, and then people did their day openly talking about it. But I really don't think that in India something like that can happen anytime soon or ever in that case, because I mean, Indian government has recognized that India is the most rapidly growing market in this sector, and sooner or later they will have to adapt to its dynamics and definitely work their way through it. Even I think I suppose they were supposed to come up with a certain crypto policy paper last month, but they haven't yet. So probably that is still in work. But yeah, that is also something that they've been working on, because they now recognize the need of the hour in this market. We have here Rahul Sharma is saying banning unbanning Bitcoin is a joke. Yeah, I mean, you can still procure Bitcoins. It's not like it's going to stop you from procuring Bitcoin or keeping them in self custody. That's the prime feature of Bitcoin. Like
Yeah.
you can just store it. Don't.
So there's a saying that goes, right. You cannot ban Bitcoin. You can ban yourself from accessing Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as far as you are willing to buy, you're willing to find someone who understands Bitcoin. It is not banned for you. It is always available for you.
It is indeed. It's just there are so many ways to get Bitcoins, and I think most people also know, and I don't need to tell them. One of them is Uno Coin. Definitely, Uno Coin is going to be there for you whenever you need to get Bitcoins. So, okay. Okay. So, another question, Varun, from a retirement perspective, because right now, people do consider cryptocurrency or Bitcoin as a new dynamic age, Gen Z investment. I don't know what this term is, but this is very widely used, Gen Z investment instruments. But then a lot of people are planning their portfolios right now in their late 40s, or say in their 30s or something like that, for their retirement. And in such a case, do you think that it's a good idea for them to consider Bitcoin as a part of their portfolio? Because most people are not even thinking about it. People are going towards stable return in investments, and mostly sovereign gold bonds or gold or bonds in general, but not towards even equity as much, and Bitcoin to not at all. So what would you suggest these people?
Shambhavi, whenever the topic of retirement comes along, right? Even if you're investing in equity, it's a very general advice to not invest like a huge portion in equities, because if you are nearing your retirement or you are in your retirement, you would need a stable supply of cash flow, supply of money coming in, and that is why you would not really be able to digest that volatility that comes with equities, right? So, if equities is really a no-no for people who are entering retirement, I think Bitcoin is very up high that list, where uh, the digestion in the portfolio becomes difficult, that the risk appetite reduces for that person. But at the same time, what I would like to add is that keeping a 1% or a 2% position is never bad for your portfolio, because even though you are investing in equities, what you can do is you can invest just 1%, 2%, or 5% of that equity portfolio, whatever you have, in Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin can just act like any small cap or a mid cap stock, which will give you high returns over a long period of time, right? So uh, if you don't like the volatility, and if you really like to enjoy your retirement and not have panic attacks when your portfolio goes up and down, maybe you can just decrease the size of your allocation to a small percentage, let's say 1% or 2%. That way, what will happen is you will get superior returns as compared to a traditional bonds, fixed assets, and equity portfolio. But at the same time, you will not experience so much of volatility as well.
Yeah, yeah, true that. I mean, the best way to deal with volatility in Bitcoin is to, diversify. I mean, you need to have a proper portfolio, so that if
Yeah.
you do not completely believe in Bitcoin, I'm sure you also do not completely believe. If you, that is such a contradictory thing over here. If you completely believe in Bitcoin, you do not believe in bonds and equities and all those things. But if you believe in these things, you do not believe in Bitcoin. So I think always a good idea to kind of keep all of them, and
Yeah.
like it said, do not keep all your eggs in one basket when it comes to long term planning. And definitely stands by it. So there are a lot of predictions in the market about this bull cycle, and before 2024 ends, where Bitcoin is going to be. Kathy Wood says it's gonna be, past $100,000. I think Arthur Hayes also has similar opinions about this, and a lot of people think, I personally am, because I do a lot of dollar cost averaging, I'm literally in the zone where I don't look at the price. I think even today I did not look at the price until we received a little pop up here. But do you often look at the market? Do you often look at the price? Do you consider it an important part of being a part of the, entire ecosystem? Is it necessary? How do you look at it?
So I do look at the price, but not for the reasons that any other person will look at it, right? So people get happy when there's a bull market and their stocks or their portfolio is going up. I generally become happy if my portfolio is crashing, right? Because when Bitcoin is crashing, that essentially means for me that an asset which I deeply understand and the world does not gives me really an edge to buy that asset at a very cheap valuation, at a cheap
Yeah.
price, right? So it gives me the time and the scope to accumulate more Bitcoin and more wealth for myself. So I become happy whenever the portfolio crashes. So I basically look at that price for that reason.
No, that's a very great way to look at it, because I think everybody is like, the minute Bitcoin's price goes down, and then you get, and I think I got them at a price where I did not think I would get it, because I've been, so for me, right, I was already studying, and I was understanding this in 2020, 2019 somewhere, and then I never invested
Mhm.
until I got my first job in 22. So I
Mhm.
started investing after that, and it was a great thing for me, because all these time 69 had already been touched by that time, and I was like, oh, it's now already at its best and everything. But the minute I decided to invest, say, next month's salary or something, I think it was January or February, somewhere like that, 17K was where it was. And I was so happy
Nice.
that I got to invest in it at that point, because after 69, 16, if you're getting, that's a
Yeah,
big deal.
it's a huge gain. Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And I was,
Yeah,
sorry, you were saying?
yeah. No, that is why I say watching the price for the right reasons is important. Not when your portfolio is going up, because there's this meme. I'm not sure if I'm getting it right, but if you have a girlfriend, it's important that she follows you. She is there with you in bad times so that she can enjoy the good times with you, right? So I think that same logic applies to Bitcoin as well. If you are not with Bitcoin in its bad times, then you are not going to enjoy the good time as well. So
Yeah,
it
makes sense, makes 100% sense. And it's about also understanding the asset. And I think with equity as well, this happens. That is the lack of knowledge out there, that people will start dumping the asset the minute they see that the price is going down, or the asset is, not doing as well as it was supposedly, promised or something like that. And then they will start dumping it, and the price will dump even more. But the smarter ones will go and buy that asset if they know that the company is eventually going to do well in the
Yeah,
near future, or in the future, in the long term future.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that is the lack
Definitely.
of knowledge out there. So how do you kind of develop this comprehensive thought process where you look at things differently?
So I think, Shambhavi, what is happening is I was always an investor. So even before, so I did my MBA in 2018, but even before I did my MBA, I had some understanding of finance. Right, MBA definitely helped me because I did an MBA in finance. But even before that, I was really an investment enthusiast. I really wanted to invest my money and grow my money. So I had a knack for it, right? So I understood that not keeping your money in the bank and actually investing is a good thing, because it will be very useful for you when you are older and when you have a family and when you're settled, right? But talking from a more mature perspective, now that I understand Bitcoin, I would say that Bitcoin is simplifying investments for people, because once you understand how revolutionary this asset is, you just have to understand it once in your lifetime and you're all set. You and that is what I think happens to Bitcoin maximalists, right? The journey from a skeptic to a maximalist is essentially this journey where they understand that you don't need to invest, you just need to hold the correct money with you, right? And Bitcoin is money. So we say that Bitcoin is an investment because Bitcoin is not money for us right now. It's just a store of value. It's something that people, move out of their fiat and then invest their savings in another currency, just for the sake of it, just for enjoying those returns, right? But the moment the world flips, the world switches, and it understands that Bitcoin is the basic money and fiat is something that is transitory, that just came for 100, 150 years and now it is vanishing. When people realize that, at that point of time, Bitcoin will become so essential that you will not even think of owning any other currency, rupee, dollar, euro, whatever, right? So we are slowly but surely marching towards that time where Bitcoin becomes the base layer of all transactions on Earth, right? And if you understand it right now, you will understand that this volatility is a phase where the people who are wiser, the people who understand the role that Bitcoin is going to play in the future, they will not be afraid of the volatility because they understand that humanity is discovering what Bitcoin really is and how it is useful for them, right? So not everyone will have the same kind of understanding, right? You cannot expect that from people. Some people will be in Bitcoin for short term, and some people will be in there for long term, right? So if you look at the short term price, that is something that is driven by the traders, which are there for the short term gains. But if you look at the, let's say, moving averages, let's say 100-day, 200-day, 400-day moving average, that just keeps on climbing very slowly but very steadily, right? So that is where long term holders are, right? They really understand the value proposition of Bitcoin, and that is why they understand that this moving average is always going to go up, right? The short term price will, do zigzag, but the moving average will always go up like a ladder. And that is where you need to bring yourself up to, right? So you definitely need to do deeper research and deeper study as to what money is, what inflation is, what central banks have done to economies all around the world. Why is the world in such a bad place? Why are there wars going on? Why is the quality of everything degrading, right? So all these are, as I said, all these are deeply connected issues, which you will understand once you just dive into the Bitcoin rabbit hole, because it's essentially connected to everything. And it's a very deep topic, so we cannot discuss everything in just half an hour or 1 hour AMA. But I would really urge people to really just dive into these topics, maybe listen to any of the talks given by Andreas, who is rightfully called the godfather of Bitcoin, because he entered completely into Bitcoin in 2011, and he has been living on Bitcoin ever since. There are other people who are really helpful and make people understand Bitcoin from a very fundamental standpoint. So there are a lot of Bitcoin podcasts. There are people such as, on the top of my mind, there's Jeff Booth, there's Robert Breedlove, uh, there's Jeff Ross. He's a doctor, but he's a hedge fund manager, right? There's Preston Pish. So there are way too many people who have come from the traditional finance space who really understand what are the drawbacks of instruments which are existing in the traditional finance space, and how Bitcoin solves those drawbacks, and how ultimately it is placed to be the perfect financial asset for everyone. So I think as you go through that journey from a skeptic to a believer, you will increase Bitcoin allocation in your portfolio, and you will really be at ease. And that is why I say it will simplify your investing journey, because if you're investing in stocks, you will constantly need to study stocks, you will constantly need to churn stocks, look for new stocks. But if you're a believer in Bitcoin, your life is set. You just have to hold this one instrument in your hand, this one money in your hand, and you will experience the best returns in the market right now.
Yeah, and very well put. Research is very, very, very important. There are so many podcasts out there, and I'm sure Varun, you're reachable over Twitter or something like that.
Yeah,
And
I am.
yeah, so guys, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to Varun, ask questions, because I think the best part of Bitcoiners is that no matter how stupid your question is, once you try to reach out to them and ask them those questions, are very nice and very helpful regarding this. And
Yeah.
they're very nice about even explaining the entire thing to you. For me, the person who orange pilled me, I would say it's the founders of Uno Coin, and they have answered the worst and the most stupid questions I could ever ask about things. And that's how I kind of understood the technology. And because I used to have a lot of questions, and I would just go and randomly ask these questions. And I'm happy that there were people guiding me about this particular thing, because that's very important. I am sure everybody needs that. So reach out to Varun. Feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to any Bitcoiner that you might know personally as well. They will be very happy to answer all your questions too. Okay, now coming to a little bit of the technical sides into the Bitcoin world, and I want to know your opinion on this. Right now, the government is very bullish on technology, which is a part of the Bitcoin ecosystem, and it's called blockchain, and they're utilizing blockchain for their operations. Now, universities, engineering courses, GP courses are on blockchain and everything. But then again, with regards to finance, there are no courses on Bitcoin or in general personal finance in universities introduced as GP courses. How do you see that as a potential point of progress? Because blockchain in itself is an independent technology, true, and it has got a lot of potential. But at the same time, it's very different from what Bitcoin was created to solve.
Yeah, definitely. So I think blockchain is just one aspect of Bitcoin, right? The other aspect is fixed supply. The other aspect is decentralization. The other aspect is it's linked to physical world in form of energy, Bitcoin mining. So there are various aspects of Bitcoin, and if you just focus on one aspect, you will not understand the complete technology, and uh, you will basically lose out, right? So it's important that people pay attention to each and every aspect, because all these aspects come together and make this magical combination called Bitcoin. So um, I think when you talk about technology, as you said, it's a technology which is has its own value on a standalone basis, and it might be useful in some cases. For example, if you want to have an open database which anyone can ping and anyone can easily access, uh, I think blockchain will be a good technology to be used there. But as I said, that's a limited application, right? There are other aspects to Bitcoin. So uh, and when we talk about the government agencies, I'm sure you understand and everyone understands is that government is always late to the scene, late to the party, right? So the party needs to happen first. People need to understand the innovation, how that is impacting their lives, how they can benefit from it. And as and when government realizes that this is the need of the hour and everyone is basically demanding easier regulations, they will just go along the way. They'll just go along the flow. So yeah, they're doing what they are doing right now, but you need to focus on your understanding and your investments. And I think government will come along. It's not a big issue in my mind.
Yeah, true. I mean, government has to definitely, their votes are of the particular parties are dependent on what the people want. And this is what we are looking at right now in the US. Who
Yeah.
thought people would support Trump? I
Mhm.
mean, but people are supporting Trump right now, not just because of the fact that, he's trying to be a Bitcoiner, but also because there are a lot of other things that he might be able to push. And I mean, it's a very political thing, but then people have their opinion about Kamala Harris. But we do see there's a majority support towards Trump, and that is for a lot of reasons. We have a question here by Akash. Okay, I'm investing in AI coins, but I can't trust the government. Now they have already been kicked out. Wild or world, I'm not sure. So I'm not able to understand your question, Akash. Varun, are you?
I think what he's trying to say is that he does not trust the government, and that is really the problem when he's investing in any of the cryptocurrency. And that is why I say that Bitcoin should be the first point of your entry, even if you are going into other cryptocurrencies, because that is something that the government cannot ban and they cannot track. There are so many ways to just acquire Bitcoin and keep it with you till the time that the world is more favorable for it, right? So. Okay, he meant WorldCoin.
World coin, the minute it came, I had a lot of opinions about it. But I think if you go back to that particular time, it was last year around the same time, I believe, and I did have a few sessions with Satvik on it, and I did have like super strong opinions about world coin and what it can do. Though the technologies, these this I keep saying about a lot of innovation that's happening on the Web3 side of the things, that it's amazing how it's happening, but it's not solving any of the current date problem. It's solving super futuristic problems that do not exist at the moment. So that is where I struggle with understanding the use case, but people are like so convincing with regards to, oh, this is one problem that is going to happen in say 20 years, and this is what it is going to be solving, and this is going to be a major thing. But then again, it's not solving any of my current problems right now. How am
Right.
I supposed to trust the use case?
Yeah, I agree.
Rahul is saying government should be the last one to adopt Bitcoin. I think, yeah, that's better because we will get a major chunk of whatever we can while we can. Once governments are in, everybody's going to be in. So
Yeah.
we do have that little window between. Okay, Rahul Sharma is also saying something about the world coin. I agree with you there. Okay. Now, just to understand, so when did you find out about the Bitcoin community in India? Because I found out about them like super late.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around mid of 2023. I did not really know there was a Bitcoin community in India. I was just listening to all the podcasts and guests from, outside India, because they have a deeper understanding of Bitcoin. They have been doing it for quite a while now, and that's why I said there is a very small community in India, and if it's not readily available, you'll find you will have a hard time finding them, because it's a very small group. So I think it was around somewhere around mid of 2023 that I found out that there are people who do meetups and who discuss their own ideas about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And yeah, it really felt homely for me, because I felt like an alien before that. My family just looked at me like, what is wrong with this guy? He's just blabbering about this cryptocurrency all this time. Just get a life. so so yeah, Bitcoin meetups help with that, and they definitely help channelize your energy in the right forums, right? Because when you have a common set of understanding of that platform, and you have people who can relate to it, and who you can understand and bounce off ideas with, you have time for your loved ones in other areas, right? You don't have to discuss constantly this one thing with them. So meetups are an important part, because obviously human beings need to have friends in all areas, and uh, your investing journey also needs to have support from a community which really understands something that so few people in the world understand. So yeah, if you're a Bitcoiner, do find those Bitcoiners around you, and go to meetups. It really helps.
Yeah, that is. Please do that. Let us know, and we would love to connect with you as well. One last question, I think, because
Mhm.
we are almost at the end of our session. Have you orange pilled anyone in your family yet, or have you failed there?
I'm not sure if I have orange pilled them, but they have definitely mellowed down. My parents, for example, they have mellowed down, and they have said, okay, just take my money and shut up, just invest it. So I'm not sure if they really believe in it, or they just believe in me and they are trying to put their trust in me. But yeah, people around me have uh, now developed a soft spot for Bitcoin, and they have really started to appreciate the value, because it has been a while when I told them to invest, and now that Bitcoin is jumping to crazy prices, they'll again remember me, and they'll come back to me. So uh, let's see.
Yeah, that's a great achievement. Honestly, I told so my father deals in gold and stuff, so he's a big time. He doesn't believe in stock, he doesn't believe in bonds, he just believes in real gold, the gold that you can touch, the gold biscuits, those real things. And then I just go up to him and I tell him about Bitcoin, and he goes like, "You're cracked. Don't talk to me about this. This is all your Gen Z, fitur and everything, and just."
Maybe you should ask him, does he have all the money in his hands which he has in his bank account? It's not, right? It's just
Yeah,
numbers.
So very interestingly, I visited my hometown a few days back. I came back on Saturday, and while leaving, he gave me this very like how we worship note bundles on our Diwali puja and everything. My father's like, since you're not gonna be here on Diwali, just take it with you, like a small note bundle. He's like, just take it with you and worship it there, like new notes and everything. I'm like, okay, but I also tweeted about that. I found that so funny because he's like, Lakshmi, you should worship this. And then I go like, because my concept of Lakshmi has evolved since I came into Bitcoin, and now really think that Bitcoin is the real form of Lakshmi ji and the prosperity and everything from my Hindu mythological perspective. And my mom is also an investor in Bitcoin, and she understands it, I think, halfway through, but she does invest. And we are both looking at each other because she knows that I'm just about to say that this is not, Lakshmi ji, but then she's like, okay, don't say anything, you're just leaving. So I
Mhm.
think we all struggle explaining this to our parents, and having them understand this. If we are able to convince them, I think we are able to explain everybody around what Bitcoin is. Akash is saying Solana is the most trusted Web3 coin. I have and WorldCoin has a great mind behind Sam Altman. I mean, yeah, that's true, but you also have to understand know what WorldCoin has been created for. So if you understand that those iris scan and all of that, it's still not maybe my perspective. I might be a little outdated in my perspective, but WorldCoin will not solve any problems that you're facing in today's day and time. Rahul is saying mostly Bitcoiners have IT background. That is what I found. Not true, Rahul. I'm not from IT background.
Neither am I.
Yeah, see, two non-ITians are just talking here. ITians, I think IT people are mostly who are developers in Bitcoin. Yeah, that is there because maybe that is also driven because of the fact that there's some monetary gain associated with being a developer in Bitcoin, whereas us talking about it might not have as much, but there is if you look at the undertone of it. But yeah, there's no upfront something like that. I mean, that's the reason why you see more IT Bitcoiners. But yeah, there are
Yeah.
Bitcoiners
Uh, on the perspective of orange peeling your parents, Shambhavi, since we touched upon that topic, I wanted to leave you with the final thought. It is said that for any human being, a technology which is there till he's in the age of 15 to 20, it's a very natural thing for him because he just understands it on the go, right? And if a technology comes in your contact when you are between the ages of 20 to 35, it is something that you need to put effort in, but you will eventually learn, right? Like it's like a new skill. But if you have crossed, let's say, 35 or 40, any new technology that comes is just alien for you, right? So for me, for example, I have never understood TikTok. I have never understood Snapchat. So I would say that I don't know what is so interesting in it. I cannot take it. But that's what technology does to you, right? So human beings are not always at their best grasping power. So because our parents have crossed above an age limit, they do not understand the latest technology which is coming in, right? So whenever I approach my parents or anyone who is older who has crossed the age of 40, I explain to them the finance perspective first and then the tech, because technology, I know it's not something that they'll be really comfortable with, and that's something that we should explain it to them later on. We should explain to them the finance perspective first. So I think you should try it out with some of those people who are not comfortable with tech.
Yeah, I think I do try to put across the gold concept because he
Yeah.
understands gold really well in and out more than I think you and I or any other people in this room will understand gold. And then he's like, you don't even know half of it, so just shut up. I know what gold is. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that is true. For them to grasp to it is very hard, and then it's fine because I'm always there. My mom is already a Bitcoiner. Yeah, she's like very enthusiastic about it. She also watches these sessions of ours every week, and she's like, "Oh, this is something new. Explain me more about this." So she's very interested in it because she's like a proper banya investor. So whatever opportunity she finds, she's gonna invest.
Interesting.
Oh, Rahul over here is saying, "Arey bhai, just check what it takes to run Solana node. Bitcoin node can be run on an old PC." Okay, I think he's trying to reply to Akash.
Yeah.
Okay, कोई बात नहीं. Thank you so much, Rahul. Rahul does this great job. Whenever he's in the comment section, he's just answering people over there, and I'm sure Akash is getting the answer as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Rahul, for answering Akash. Okay. And on this note, we'll be ending our today's session. Thank you so much, Varun, for joining us today. Such an insightful session. I hope to definitely do more of this and learn more about the personal finance theory and the Bitcoin theory in depth in the coming days whenever you are free. And till then, I think we can both relax, just add sats and be humble, and same for everybody else. We'll see you again next week, same time. Till then, yeah, stack stats and stay humble, and have a great weekend ahead. Oh no, it's
Thank
just
you.
the start of the week.
Thank
Okay.
you.